So I'm just going to take a moment to weigh in on the prospects of Gavin Newsom running for president. This is something that people have been talking about. There's speculation that Newsom may possibly run for president in 2028. So I'm looking at a CNN article that considers some people as possible candidates as being Kamala Harris, J.B. Pritzker, Gretchen Whitmer. I don't even know who that is, and I report on politics every day. Josh Shapiro, he's caught my attention. I think he's out there and he has a good enough public presence to be acknowledged. Pete Buttigieg and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So first of all, I don't think that the whole thing with Kamala Harris running for office really went very well. And other than that, I don't think that right now in the kind of situation that we're in, where our country is literally being dismantled and the American people, from my own perspective, certainly appear to be under attack, I personally don't think it's a good idea for a female to be running for office. I don't think that it's a good idea for us to have a female as the primary candidate right now. I mean, I'm a female that's been working in construction for the last 10 years, and I support women, and I think that women can make great leaders. I just don't think that right now is the time, considering how things have been going and how things are. And I think that prejudice against women has been something that has been encouraged by this administration, and I think it only increases, turning the 2028 election into a gamble rather than an opportunity for change. I would love to see a female president. I think that would be awesome. I just don't think now is the time. Other than that, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, if I'm even saying that correctly, has done an excellent job at being a fighter. So out of the two, between Kamala and Alexandria, I would pick Alexandria over Kamala, unfortunately, right now. And the reason for that is because Kamala Harris and Joe Biden both knew that Donald Trump was literally calling the Congress, telling them to defund our agencies, which from my own perspective certainly appears to be conspiracy against the United States. And it looks like they were engaging in wire fraud during the time. The Biden administration knew about that. Even if Kamala was not able to do anything about it at the time due to Biden telling her no, she should have been more clear and spoken up more loudly. And I personally also feel that she should have taken some action to defend the election. I mean, if you guys haven't noticed, I'm closing out every news segment with Donald Trump stating the day before the inauguration that he rigged the election. The CIA is an agency that is an extension of the military. The military is under control by the presidential branch, and both Biden and Harris failed to take action. I personally feel that Kamala and Biden both failed to take a threat towards the United States seriously. There are those out here who are like, oh, I don't think he rigged the election, blah, 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 it was a fair election. I just don't believe that. I'm sorry. It makes no sense to me. I am 38 years old. I have never in my life seen ballot boxes being lit on fire, ballots being thrown out of trucks, bomb threats at poll locations, poll workers getting arrested for literally tampering with the ballots. I've never seen these things happen before. We got all that going on as including terrorist attacks and some bizarre alien invasion that we're supposed to all somehow suddenly forget about, that there's been zero explanation for. Something Biden certainly should have made a statement on. I mean, from my own perspective, it certainly looks like Trump was flying in Russians on a military cargo plane and landing them at his golf course. Pretty extreme. The fact that the administration never said anything honest about it didn't raise public awareness enough surrounding the issues of Trump literally calling for an attack on our federal agencies while a significant amount of fraud was going on. During the Biden presidency, shouldn't you tell the country about something like that? Shouldn't you be making people widely aware if it is causing a wide-spanning problem affecting millions? The people of the country actually do matter. And when stuff is being done to harm them, you should probably tell them about it. if you're the one who knows. And if there's a need to take action and not help someone like Donald Trump save face in a situation where he is literally, in my opinion, attacking the country. Well, I can appreciate Kamala Harris as a person. She definitely is a very fast writer as far as how quickly she was able to get a book drafted. I just don't think it's a good idea. I think that opportunity has already gone out of the window. I think the failure of having honest dialogue, as well as the failure to challenge, well, I do see that she said he's a bad person. He's going to try and do these things. At the same time, while holding the VP office and failing to use the military or any legal means to try and protect America when a threat was clearly visible. I've written a book on it, and there's no way that the president and the VP did not know that Trump was doing this during their administration. The failure to act in the interest of national security certainly creates a situation where I do not see Kamala Harris as fit for the presidential office. You need to have the balls to stand up to somebody if they're doing harm and threatening national security and attacking the American people. J.B. Pritzker, I do think, has the fortitude to stand up for the country. Now, if America is under attack and you are standing up for America and American civilians, then that also means if somebody else is threatening the country from the outside, that you're probably likely to have the balls to handle the situation. That's part of the area where I'm really hung up on Kamala Harris. I just, you don't observe something that threatens national security going on and fail to act. Not a good thing. So I am going to say that out of the individuals that I am seeing, like on the small list that is available through CNN on the news article that I was looking at, just in general, since we're having this discussion, I do personally feel that Gavin Newsom would probably be the prime candidate in this situation. I spent 10 years out of my life working in construction as a female, somebody who's widely hated just because I exist. It's funny because I've been out working these men like 3 times over and I still get treated like crap and minimized and all of that. But for me personally, if somebody's wrong and they're attacking me and my integrity or the people around me, I'm going to stand up to them. I'm going to tell an asshole piece of shit to fuck off. So for me personally, of course, then for similar reasons, I support Gavin Newsom. I don't feel like I know enough about the backgrounds of these people to really speak to that. But I do feel that this is what anybody should be doing in a situation like this. I mean, from my own perspective, Trump's just a fat-ass fucking loser, okay? He's, like, rich, but he's also the epitome of trailer trash. If trailer trash had a lot of money, this is what it would look like. So I personally, I just don't see any reason to be cowering to something like that. And one thing I am very frustrated with and disgusted with is a lot of these people in politics right now holding office are kind of hiding in the shadows, not saying very much. It also makes me wonder if some of these people are also engaging in the similar financial crimes to what Donald Trump and his team are doing. And that's not what you're elected to do. There is a whole country here, and this country does matter, and the priorities should not be lining your own pockets. And what happens when people gun for office, especially on a significant scale, trying to line their own pockets, is we get chaos. We get a system of law that makes no sense and does not function in a manner that is going to improve our economic situation, improve the general standard of living. Environmental pollution and cancer rates in the United States are pretty high, if you ask me. There's a lot of it. The cost of education is outrageous. The cost of housing is outrageous. The cost of food right now is outrageous. I think that Gavin Newsom has done an excellent job in garnering public attention. And I also think he's personable. And that's also something that Obama had going for him, the first black president of the United States. Having positive interaction with the general American public, being one of us and being part of the American people, and participating in a way that is on a real level that a lot of people can relate to, by being a genuine, real human being. I do think that since we're out here criticizing Donald Trump's weird AI videos and his obnoxious, ridiculous behavior, that, while making a mockery of it during this time is appropriate, I think. Once in office, it might not be a good idea to continue to engage in that kind of conduct, but I also think that Newsom appears to be mindful enough not to do that. I also think he's honest with himself and honest with others of the general public and what he is observing and how he feels about it, and I think that he's addressing things in a way that is genuine and honest based on how the world actually works. I think that Gavin Newsom has done an excellent job of being personable with the public. Culture is something that matters when it comes to elections and succeeding with the people. Some people are criticizing the way that he has chosen to fight back on the things that the Trump administration is doing. From my own perspective, certainly looks like it's working. Actually, I think elections go better when there's good public engagement and when things are fun. And I think that's also part of the reason why the Trump campaign has managed to succeed. They built up an entire subculture surrounding his campaign. I'm a graphic designer. I'm out here looking at the propaganda that MAGA's been spreading, trying to combat it, and I do see that there is an entire subculture there for people. There's a lot of stuff that I would consider entertainment. While I don't support being an extremist, I do think that when our politicians hide in rooms and are never seen, when we don't know what the fuck they're doing, when they're not interacting with the public, when they're not explaining the things that are happening in our offices, when they do not appear to be doing shit for the people, I don't think people have much of a reason to be interested in those candidates. And honestly, I would like to see a lot more people like Pritzker, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and Josh Shapiro out here running for office. There's another one that I'm keeping an eye on out here, Kat Abughazela. I think she's running for Illinois for Congress. I've been posting her on my Blue Sky, but you need to be interacting with the people if you're running for office. So that's something I want to see more political candidates do, more people holding office do. And I think that if we've got invisible politicians, again, that's a freaking issue. What sucks is that you got to build a following on social media for people to know who you are. And especially when running for regional, state, district offices, that can be a challenge because you have to build up a following, and you got to try and figure out how to do that locally. And unfortunately, a lot of these political like the social media platforms, which has become the main means of communication now, it is up to us content creators to push these people out there. And there needs to be some form of cooperative relationship. But other than that, like, how do you reach the appropriate target audience? Canvassing is good, for people running for more localized offices. But being invisible is not good. I just don't like invisible politicians. Other than that, when it comes to the talking points that Gavin Newsom brings to the table, I feel like I'm hearing a lot of common sense. And isn't that what we need? I don't understand why so many people appear to be cowering in fear from Donald Trump. The dude's a piece of shit. I'm kind of worried that some of this might be because these are a bunch of people that went to college and then started political careers and don't have much of a taste for the real world and what it means to tell somebody to fuck off. I mean, from my own perspective, I'm an American, and telling people to fuck off is apparently something that a lot of us are pretty good at. And I think it's something our politicians really need to be good at, in a situation like this, at least. But if somebody's threatening war or whatever, somebody holding office needs to be able to handle that appropriately. Gavin Newsom has done an excellent job, I feel, of being pretty transparent in his operations. He's been doing a pretty good job at looking out for the needs of the people in the past several months. It's something that he will need to stick to, and if he gets into the presidential seat, he needs to be honestly looking at the needs of the people and finding solutions to the problems. It's 2025. This is not the 1700s. We have advanced science. We have all this information. And I personally don't see any good enough reason for our political system to be running off of some ridiculous delusions. There is plenty of information showing what is and is not effective and why things matter. And my own personal perspective on politics is that decisions should be made on a rational basis based on what actually works. I think that Newsom has public visibility down and on point. Other than that, when I went to go and try to take up work to assist with the Clinton campaign, which, in retrospect, I've never been a fan of the lady. I just wanted to see what would happen if I went into that office and attempted to assist them, and what I was met with was some cranky-ass people. When I worked on the Obama campaign, we had fun. We bussed people to the polls, by the way. But it was a fun campaign. And people were respectful and polite, and there were young people on the campaign trail. Other than that, some of the white supremacists, they're like, there are people who support MAGA that are pretty pissed off that things are being made this bad in America. White supremacists or not, they're pissed off. And there has been criticism towards J.D. Vance for having a wife of color, and they have been praising Gavin Newsom as a better alternative just because he's exemplary as a white man. And I hate to say this because it's not what I think the goal should be, but look at the demographics and the voting and where the problems are, and so then there's another reason why I think that he might make a prime candidate, because they will vote for him. Gavin Newsom in this time has been focused on making effective decisions based on the needs of the people. He's been speaking openly about things that are genuinely concerning. He's having honest dialogue with the American people. While he is making a mockery of Trump's shitty-ass behavior, which I think is completely warranted. Probably, again, like I said, not something to continue after getting into office. I think that he's able to handle the job. Josh Shapiro is not something I personally feel familiar with. Somebody I personally felt familiar with enough to have confidence in voting for. I have seen him a few times. He does appear to be doing his job because he has been popping up in my stuff saying things that are important, and I have seen him doing important work. Former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. Why is this person on the list that CNN is offering up as potential candidates? You guys gotta do a better job of getting your faces out there, and I don't know what it's gonna take. Like how, for these other people that, if you're considering running for presidential office, you gotta get your name out there. You need to be talking about effective policy. You need to be talking about what's gonna work if you run for office. What's actually going to work. You need to be talking about the interests and the needs of the American people, and you need to be interacting with the American people. Long story short, right now, the household names are Gavin Newsom and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. If he's going to run, she might make a good VP. Out of this list that I'm seeing being provided by CNN, I think that Pritzker will also be a decent option out of what's being provided on this list. Other than that, we need to look at what's going on around us. And These are the people on the stage. These are the people fighting back. These are the people in front of us. I don't think that Kamala Harris is a good idea right now. I think he's honest in his intentions, Gavin Newsom. I think that he is looking at things from an honest perspective right now. I think that the policies that he's attempting to enact in this time are effective and in the better interest of the nation. I think he's genuinely concerned about what's going on. And if there's anybody I think that is going to act in an effective manner, I think Gavin Newsom and Alexandria Cortez are probably the two most prominent figures that I feel I can expect to act in the best interest of this country. I do feel like even though Newsom has made himself personable, he is also operating with integrity. I also think, though, that I personally don't hold anybody up on a pedestal. We're all human beings. And I think that Trump is a loser-ass piece of shit. So I don't understand the concept of holding anybody up on a pedestal or being scared of some fucking nasty-ass fucking pedophile fucking rapist-ass thief-ass motherfucker who I personally would really like to punch in the face. If I had the opportunity, that would be great. I'm just saying, I don't think anybody's special. So with that being said, if we're going to be having this discussion, I am also concerned that whether or not Newsom's prepared for it, he may wind up getting thrown into a situation where this is something that might happen to him. And one of the things that I see is that people age significantly when they wind up thrown into the presidential offices. I really wish that I saw more people out here speaking up and fighting back with some cojones. And I think that, unfortunately, right now, Newsom has wound up at the forefront of this battle. So as an individual, as a person, I kind of feel a little bad for him right now. That he is getting pushed into the front. I don't think that was the intention. I think the intention was that Donald Trump's attacking America and try to protect America. And not enough people trying to do that. And I think that that's how Newsom wound up standing in the front of the line here. I don't think it was intentional. I think that he is somebody that has a moral compass. And that's how he wound up in this position. So then if this is something that we are all going to be debating and considering and talking about and possibly pushing this guy into this position, then just because he's a good enough person, I personally understand, like, when you see nobody else stepping up or whatever, the feeling of the need to take the lead because nobody else is doing it. That's what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about Gavin Newsom. Other than that, what I will say is things are so crazy right now. So chaotic. That regardless, I don't think any one person is going to be able to fix all this. And so if Newsom were to run for office, he would need a team of the best and the brightest. And I think if for anybody hanging around him, people need to be caring about him and watching his back if a 2028 campaign is a likelihood. If things start going in that direction, I think that the people surrounding Newsom need to be of the highest integrity and looking out for him and caring as individuals to see to it that things get handled in the best way possible with honesty and integrity. And I think he's got an excellent press team, by the way. So I think those people should keep their jobs or get promoted if we're talking about a presidential run. Other than that, Donald Trump scaring the crap out of a bunch of people. I don't understand it. I ain't scared of the fucking asshole. I wish that he would stop making life so difficult. And I think that he needs a swift kick in the ass. That's how I feel about the guy. He is making it so people don't want to stand up in front of others. He's intimidating people, and some people don't know how to handle conflict, and they're acting cowardly. Other than that, I think some of these individuals who have brilliant minds may not be very visible right now. So if Newsom's going to be running for 2028, we got to figure out how we're going to get the right people on the job, in the cabinets, and in the official seats, to make sure that we have the best and the brightest available in this country, because I think their visibility is reduced right now. And so then with all of that, do I think that Newsom has the honesty within himself to look at a panel of experts and ask for the right answers to the questions from the people who know the best? Yes. I think that he has the ability to differentiate, to externalize. I think he has moral fortitude. I think he has integrity. So then, I support the idea of seeing Newsom for a run, but I'm also concerned that he might be in a position where he may be getting thrown under the bus here because he's the most qualified person apparently on the national stage right now. I mean, that's my opinion. He's garnered a lot of attention. And so has Alexandria. Other than that, I don't feel like we have enough people aggressively standing up and fighting back. Some of these governors are like ghosts wandering around in the hallways. That makes me really angry, by the way. I'm in Colorado. I don't know what's going on with our governor. That's another thing we need to be looking at. Like, we need to be lining up candidates. We need to be finding the right people. Like, we're running out of time. People need to get some balls. And we have to figure out how we're going to run effective campaigns. I don't think being boring, drab, and invisible is going to help a damn thing. So, that's my opinion. I think that social media and the pay-to-play shit is not helping with our political campaigns, and I think that people should have every right to actually know who's running for office. And I really would like to see it if people running for office were given an appropriate political platform without having to pay out the ass and fork out a bunch of money to YouTube and Facebook and shit to run for office. I don't think any company should be profiting off of anybody running from political office. Really. Like, especially if it's just like a video hosting platform or something. I think that people running for regional elections ought to be able to have free and fair reach so that the election is fairly considered on these platforms. And pay-to-play, I feel, is just a means of manipulating the political situation. And I think that so far we have seen it is not working out in our best interest. Other than that, another thing that we could be a possibility would be to host an entire website that literally has all of the political campaigns, all the people running, and all of their stuff all in one place. And that Americans could just go to. And if they want to know who's running for their district, click on like an interactive map and see who's running and what they have to say. I don't like invisible politicians. No, I think we need a fair way to platform people running for office. Because these are not, and they should not be, professional influencers. But I do like the people are coming out here making videos, because what you're doing is public education and interacting with the public. But follower accounts becomes the issue. These platforms Other than that, as far as media consumption is concerned, I personally feel that the internet is a lot better place than watching cable TV. I would much rather be able to watch things without a bunch of obnoxious commercials if I want to avoid those commercials, not have to watch all this shit that I don't want to watch and flip channels and all of that. I want to go directly to what I'm looking for. So I don't know how I feel about paying TV channels to be on TV either. It would be nice if our newspapers and media outlets and social media outlets and online platforms had a way to fairly present candidates instead of making it so that whoever the hell has the most money wins the election. If we could actually get people with good ideas that are useful to society instead of some dumbass like Donald Trump who's just going to steal all our money, get drunk as hell, do a bunch of cocaine, and fucking wreck the White House, that would be great. Newsom for 2028? I think that's a good idea, but I think that everybody needs to be having his back and not running him into the ground if that's going to be what happens. He needs to have the most supportive and effective team in American history. And that is my opinion on Newsom for 2028. The reason that I report on protests is because it's the people. The people are expressing their thoughts and their opinions and what matters to them. And the people need to know that they matter. The people want to feel like they belong. You know, if we want to be patriotic, it would be about bringing people together. It's one thing I really did not like about the the Clinton campaign, man. I was out of there within 5 minutes of walking into that building. It wasn't inclusive. I do think collectively the American people know what matters. I don't necessarily think, after what we've seen with MAGA, that the American people might necessarily know how to get there. But I'm also seeing that a significant amount of the population knows the difference between right and wrong. That things like DEI matter. The general principle of leaving other people alone and what's good and bad for the economy, or otherwise there wouldn't be such an uproar right now. I think the amount of public anger is helping with public education, and I think public education is a huge thing that needs to be taken into consideration for anybody holding public office. Explain to me why your policies are going to work and how they're going to work, and implement them. I want to see the best and brightest minds on this 2028 election. Announce your cabinet beforehand. Let those people speak. Be inclusive. Get the people involved. I really like what I see this cat. I'm going to mispronounce the last name here. I'm not even going to try to put Cat Abu. I don't have her name pulled up right now. I'm just sitting outside. Abu Ghazala, the lady for Illinois. She just held community Halloween parties. That's the kind of stuff I want to see. She's been holding online forums, interacting with the public, bringing the public in, getting them involved in things that matter, making them feel like they matter. Because as Americans, as civilians, we have been put down for so long, and I think that's part of the problem, is the American people don't feel like they matter. Culture is a part of politics, and it does matter. Are we an American people? Are we a people, collectively? How do we become that? What's it going to take? How about making it clear how and why my vote matters? Make it clear why I should vote for you. These are things to consider, I think that when people feel like they're doing something important, which is largely a huge part of politics that I think our politicians have not been paying attention to, they're more likely to act. And unfortunately, these MAGA people have bought into a cult of personality where they felt like they belonged and they felt like they mattered, but they were also being manipulated. Other than that, I do think that some form of social media for politics would be a great idea. I just mean a general platform, like if you are a political seat holder, the opportunity to run for office. Like if you're running for office, let them post, let them set up an official account. I want to know who my district representatives are. I want to know who my local representatives are. A lot of times when I'm going in to vote, I don't even know who these fucking people are when it comes to local elections. What if everybody running for office had an opportunity to register? When you try to run for office, you have to get approved. And so then why don't we have a registry number and a centralized website where these people can hold themselves accountable by being transparent and uploading videos. Upload videos with the experts that you're working with if you don't have time to talk, to express why and how things that are going to be done or work or matter, to tell the public about issues that are taking place in a region. Raise public awareness. Be a part of the community. Isn't that what this is supposed to be about? So that's my opinion on the 2028 election and what I think could help make the election effective, as well as general thoughts surrounding politics. So yeah, that's what I think about politics and the 2028 election and the probability of Gavin Newsom running for office, the need for community engagement, the need for transparency, and some things that I think could help with this election. I think that the American people need to feel like they matter. When we have protests and the news doesn't report on it, we sit outside the building and shame them. And that's why I report on protests. Because the people want to know that they matter. They want to know that their concerns and their issues are being addressed. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Newsom 2028. What does elections got to be like solving a Scooby-Doo mystery trying to figure out who the bad guy is? Why is it got to be so difficult? Is there a way we can make this easier and less time consuming?